everyone, Stella here, and I'm here to do your mid-March readings. These readings are for your sun, moon, and rising sign. If you're brand new here, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. If you're returning, thank you guys so much for sticking with me, and I love you guys. So I'm gonna jump right into it. If you have questions, comments, feedback, please put them down below. I will link my website where you can purchase a private reading down below. I will link my email as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna draw one card, one or maybe two, for the general collective, and then we'll get into your personal readings. So what does the general collective need to know for the month of March? Knight of Cups reversed. So right off the bat, I'm getting like a Uranus connection, very watery, very sort of Pisces energy. We are in Pisces season right now. That's the other thing. Emotions are deep currently. Emotions run deep. The emotional current is very much, contradicting myself. It's deep, right? So the emotions are down there, but it's like right at the surface, right? It's available to us. So emotions that sometimes are buried down below are very much available during this time, during Pisces season in general. And so that's really the challenge, is to get to learn your inner landscape a little bit more, get to learn how to work with your emotions to turn them into your allies rather than your enemy. Okay, so let's pull one challenge and one guidance. Two of Cups. Ooh, they're both reversed. Two of Cups and the Six of Wands. Challenge, guidance. Two of Cups is your connection with somebody else. So you can see cups represent the water element. You can see these two people are sharing or exchanging cups. They actually have their arms crossed, so she's like feeding him and he's feeding her. So this is emotional exchange with somebody else. It's in the reverse. So again, emotions are high right now. There is a lot of sort of rage, a lot of anger, aggressive energy, deceptive energy with Pluto right underneath the surface. So at least from now, whenever you watch this in the middle of March, to, I would say, like the end of the first week in April, just be very conscious of what you say, what you do, and your temper. And if something does flare up inside you, give yourself some space. Don't react immediately, because it's going to be better if you give yourself time to settle and to think about what you're feeling specifically, than if you just react at this time. Okay. And then your guidance is the Six of Wands reversed. Six of Wands is a card of celebration. It's a card of, like, he's a soldier that's gone out to battle and he's coming home and he's being celebrated. He's like participating in a parade, basically. So two things I'm getting from this. Number one, don't rely on like accolades from the outside, okay? Don't allow your self-worth to be based in what other people have to say to you or about you for the remainder of this month, specifically for that reason, because tempers are high. That energy is right underneath the surface. And if you take too much, like if you invest in it too much, right, it's going to end up hurting you. So just take everything with a grain of salt. Know that this time will pass, and again, work on finding your center and finding your value from within, right? God made all of us, God, universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it, made us all, wonderfully and perfect and beautifully. And it's up to you how you get to utilize that energy. But the fact that you exist is proof of your worth and of your value, right? So that's what it comes down to this month, reminding yourself of that constantly. The other thing that I'm getting is I'm getting like false like compliments sort of thing. So be careful about people giving you compliments again and taking it to heart, because at this time it may not be coming from like a pure place, because everybody's got this kind of tough energy. We're all going through it, right? So fill your cup from within. Don't rely on the outside to make you feel good, and be careful with those relationships. Be careful with relying or having expectations of others, right? That Uranus energy can be very very unexpected. So just take everything with a grain of salt, allow it to flow, and know that it will pass, okay? All right, I love you guys. On to your individual readings. Hi, Cancer. Stella here, and I'm here to do your March reading. This is going to be sort of like a mid-month reading. Obviously, you know that if you're watching it now. As I'm talking, I'm getting an image for you guys. You guys are very water, and Mars and Pluto have sort of big, energies this month, and that's a really not a comfortable place for you. Do you guys remember, I don't know if you remember, it was a super obscure movie, but when I was a kid growing up, there was this really obscure movie. It was called The Island of Roninish. And it was about this Irish myth. I have Irish heritage, or could be Scottish. I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong, but the Selkie, right? So the Selkie is like the mermaid. It's a maiden or a beautiful woman, and she takes the form of a seal. And she spends time in the ocean, and then she comes to land, and I think she like lures the man, kind of like the myth of the mermaid. But the point is, she spends some of her time on most of her time in the ocean until she's ready, and then she comes to land. And I'm getting the image of it's like a seal, and I'm getting that movie. If it means something to one of you or some of you, please comment it down below, because it's such an obscure movie, but I watched it when I was young, and it obviously made an impact on my psyche, so there's that. But I'm getting the image of a seal, and it's like sinking below the ocean, and I just keep getting not coming home and drowning. So be careful that you don't drown in emotion this month. Oftentimes rage can be a cover for sadness and despair. So sadness can be what's underlying irritation, anger. It's sort of, anger is sort of a self-preservation emotion, but underneath it can be that sadness, and it's like you don't feel safe enough to release that sadness, and so you get angry instead, right? So there could be a lot of frustration happening. We'll see if that ties in as we get into this reading, but I'm just getting, be careful that you don't drown in your own sorrow, right? So there's a time and a place to dive deep, and then there's a time to come back up to the surface. I just read for Aries, but I want to read you this card because I feel like it's relevant right now. I learned, so this is a oracle deck. It's a law of attraction based oracle deck by Esther and Jerry Hicks. And it says, I learned to pay attention to my feelings. Your emotions are absolute indicators of your current point of attraction. They help you to know in any moment whether or not you are currently allowing the fulfillment of your desire. It is our encouragement that you pay attention to how you feel and allow your emotions to be the valuable indicators that they are. So, if you're feeling down, allow yourself to dive down into that feeling and feel it, because the only way through it or past it is through it, right? If you bypass it, or you layer things on top of it, or you go and do some other activity to try to not feel what you're feeling, obviously there's a time and a place. If you're sitting at work, it's not appropriate to start crying, right? Unfortunately, our society doesn't allow for that. But then when you get home, go take a bath and, tap into that feeling and let it out. Or call up your friend, go talk to your friend, and, or your family member or somebody. I was talking to Aries about the value of a therapist. I remember I used to think in my younger years, I don't know, I came from a family that just was kind of had the attitude of tough it out, right? Or they didn't, it's not that they were against therapy, but it was just almost seen as a weakness, or that one should be able to find their own resources, and you shouldn't have to pay someone to listen to you, right? But it is money well spent. I mean, I could vent to my friends and my family, but they may not have the bandwidth for it at any given time, right? It may be something confidential that I don't want to talk to them about. It may be a dynamic in the relationship that I'm not comfortable talking to them about. And I have somebody, an outlet that I can go to, that not only is she trained, in this, but she's there specifically for me to guide me and support me through, my own internal landscape. And not only that, but it's a fair exchange of energy because I pay her, well for her services. So it's a really wonderful thing. And if any of you are thinking about it, but you have these like old beliefs that like, oh, I don't need it, or it's for, weak, I don't even know. If you have like weird, ideas about it. Another thing is control, right? Because it's like, well, why do I want to tell somebody about my inner world? They could use it against me. And it's like, no, they're there to be a neutral party. Nobody in your life, your friends, your family, your inner circle, will be able to be neutral. And that's the point of paying them. That's the value that you're receiving. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Anyways, all right. What does Cancer need to know? Maybe you're leaving a job. Maybe you feel like everything you've worked for is changing. Two things. So there is I believe it's Native American belief. It's grandmother spider, like, spun the universe or wove the universe together. I have a little like herb garden over here. And there's a spider. It weaves a web that's like one layer, right? So it's like this matrix. And then in the web, there'll be these little 2 points. It's an anchor line, right? So if you can imagine the circle of the web, and then all of a sudden there's one single point, and it's a really strong thread that comes down to an entire second layer. The original layer that it's attached to, drops down. So it ends up looking like, have you ever seen a diagram or a description of Einstein's wormhole? How it's like one layer and then there's another layer and then this wormhole pulls, and that's what a black hole is, right? It pulls down. I swear to God, that's exactly what the spider web looks like. And I looked at it one day and I like meditated on it, and that's it. That's string theory, right? We're all just these different strings of reality, these different timelines woven together. So connect that back to this card. 8s are about hard work. 8 of Coins is about hard work, reaping the rewards, putting in the time, hustling, but in an organized, structured way. And because it's reversed, I think you guys are feeling like the fabric of your, reality, or the way that you make money is starting to like fall apart a little bit. We've also got this 9 of Cups, which is ultimate happiness. So I'm going to pull a clarity on it. But I just wanted to say that for those of you that... The Tower, yeah. So you're having a Tower moment. I have clarity on this 9 of Cups. What is this 9 of Cups? We've got the Tower and the 8 of... Doesn't make any sense. King of Swords is a Gemini. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius in your life. A male who's giving you advice. Somebody who is very straightforward, very honest, very also cunning and clever. Someone who doesn't mince words. Someone who's not afraid to tell you how they see it. They're not afraid to tell you how they feel. So on the one hand, we've got this Tower moment, which is, everything crashing down. But it's also like you backed yourself into a corner, because see, there's no door here. And then lightning is obviously like an act of God. And these people did not set their own tower on fire, right? So they had to jump out the window because there's no door. So it's like maybe you painted yourself into a corner, if you will, or a situation where, yes, everything was stable and you were working really hard, but it's like, the whole ecosystem. There's no room for growth here. See how every inch of this card is taken up by this web here? So it's like you did all the work that you could do. There was no more growth where you were. Then we've got, or where you are transitioning out of. We've got the Nine of Cups, which is ultimate happiness. This did come out from the Aries reading, but I think it does apply to you guys because it did come out. So I'm seeing like this sense of inner happiness despite what looks like the world around you falling apart, which is really great. And you're left with a choice where you have to choose one direction or another. And until you make that choice, you won't be able to see clearly because your fate is not determined yet. You're at a crossroads where you have to make a decision to, you know, go one way or another. It's going to be different for everybody, but it's going to be a deciding decision, and whatever you choose is going to inform your fate moving forward. Okay, so remember what I was saying about this card and paying attention to your emotions. Remember that if you're in a negative emotion, you're not attracting what you want. Yes, there is utility in feeling it and letting it you know, manifest and letting yourself process it. But there's also a time to then focus on what makes you happy. So goes back to the selkie and the seal. Like, don't spend so much time underwater. There is a time and a place for you to come up to land, and you do have to do that. So don't allow yourself to wallow. Okay. A new beginning is almost being forced upon you, Cancer. You are ready for it. You do have this inner like wealth, this inner sense of happiness. Your cups are all filled. But you're having to make a choice because your external circumstances are no longer supportive. Like, where you are is no longer supportive of you, and it's becoming very clear internally. We have a lot of reversal cards. So we have the Fool. The Fool is starting a new journey. This is what's on your mind. It is in the reverse. So this is you being resistant to change. You're resistant to what's happening right now because it's the unknown, right? You don't know what's going to happen, and maybe you don't know exactly what you want, and it's very scary to step forward. It requires a lot of faith to step forward if you don't know what you want, right? So in your recent past, we have the Seven of Wands in reverse. So you're letting down your guard a little bit, or maybe you did let down your guard with somebody and that caused like disruption in your environment with this Tower. You know that you're in the right. Like, you know that you do have this sense of inner peace and inner happiness, because you know you're in the right, but it doesn't change the fact that it's causing your environment or perhaps your dynamic with this person to change, right? So again, with the Two of Wands, wands are about motivation. Wands are about direction. The fire element, they are what motivates you, your beliefs, your values, why you do things, the why behind everything. And two is a number of choice, right? So here we have, you can go one of two ways. This is a very good card. This is a very positive card, and it is upright, but it's almost like what I'm getting with this, because especially because it has the rainbow behind it, all of the colors of all the chakras, I'm getting that it's like you can choose to move forward in faith and excitement, or you can choose to move forward in fear and resentment. You have a bright future. You are in the right. However, your environment is changing, and perhaps you feel like you're not quite ready for it. Like, you didn't ask for it. But it's universe, mirroring the change that you feel on the inside. Because with this Seven of Wands, wands are your beliefs, your values, right? In the traditional tarot, this is about a man, and he's put up, 7 wands in front of him. It's like he built a fence around himself. And in this deck, it's like they are lined up like a fence, but they're parted in the middle, right? And then here you are, this flame that's lit in the middle, and it's in the reverse. So it's like, I'm getting like everything you used to stand for, the pillars that made up your foundation before with somebody, and all the hard work, finances, sweat, tears, hard work that you put into building your home, your tower with this person, the things that motivated you before. Just take for example, okay, the housewife that has 3 kids, she turns 30 or around that age and realizes, oh my gosh, this man does not have the same value system I do. He's not living, whatever. You decide that you have to make a change. Your values are no longer the same. Maybe your values used to be, I want to be a good wife. I want to give my husband, the children that he wants. I want to be a good homemaker. I want to, whatever it is. But it's like changing from beliefs and value systems that the outside world put on you to your own internal beliefs and value systems. One is upside down and one is upright. Yes, you still have a dichotomy here. You still have black and white. You can choose happiness or you can choose fear, but at least these are yours. They belong to you. You created them, you own them, you are in control of them. They are not imposed upon you by the outside world, because you can never, all these outside values too, like there is value in it, right? And traditions and norms and these societal like tropes, but they are the average, right? It's the average to get married and have kids and whatever. No individual's experience is ever like that trope or that average or that norm is never going to be as complex and unique and varied and changeable as any individual's experience. So if your goal is the average, you're going to always fall short, right? And that's one of the like sickest lessons in life, because we're taught as kids, we have these goals like drilled into us, and you have to be married by a certain age, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do that. Those are all average experiences across the entire, population. So if you're aiming for an average or for the middle, it's never going to fit you, because one individual is vastly more complex than the average can ever be. Okay? So I hope that's helpful for some of you or any of you that are dealing with this dichotomy and realizing that, because the thing is, it's like maybe you told somebody or you talked to somebody or you're just not willing to uphold these the way that you used to, these old value systems. And you're just not willing to put in the work anymore because it's not paying off for you. It doesn't align with who you are. So you may not be ready for your outside, life to change, but life is sure ready for it. Life goes, Cancer gets it. They're embracing their actual qualities and, what's actually inside of them, and not trying to fit into this box anymore. And if you can step out in faith, Cancer, that's what this fool that you're resisting, this is what's on your mind, and it's in the reverse. So you're like, no, don't make me jump. I don't want to jump. Don't make me do it. Well, this is all about taking that leap of faith. This is a baby duck. Baby ducks are born, they're water birds, right? But they're born in holes in trees. So the mama ducks will walk like miles and miles from their pond, whatever pond they frequent, and they'll lay their eggs up in the tree. Okay, so they hatch their eggs, months go by, whatever. When the babies are ready to go to the the pond, they have to fucking jump. They can't fly. They have all this fuzzy down. They can't even regulate their body temperature, let alone fly, right? And the mama duck like jumps out, and the little babies have to just like dive bomb out of the nest. It is, oh man, look up a YouTube video if you've never seen it before. It is the funniest thing. But I'm sure some of you have encountered, like in the springtime, you're driving and all of a sudden like some geese or some, ducks walk across the street and you have to stop and let them cross. And I don't know, I live in a rural place, but maybe that's never happened to you, but it's just so funny because they're so helpless. And And yeah, they get picked off by, you know, foxes or whatever, falcons or hawks or whatever other critters there are out there. But the point is, they make the leap of faith. And their entire life, like, nothing will happen without that first leap. So you may be going like, no, don't make me, don't make me. And here's your mom behind you pushing you out of the nest, right? That your mom being, you know, source or God or spirit saying, you've got this, Cancer. You can do this. You were made for this. You're just starting to be brave enough. And I know you're starting to be brave enough because I know your heart. I know your thoughts. And I know you're scared, but I'm not going to allow you to stay where you're stagnant and you're working yourself to death and you're working so freaking hard and you're not getting any result out of it and you're unappreciated. And I know you can handle it because you have this 9 of Cups. You have this inner happiness within you, right? And I love you too much to let you stay in a place where you're not thriving, okay? So it's a little bit of a kick in the butt this month. And yes, your environment's going to change. Yes, it's going to be scary. Have faith. The Fool is all about having blind faith. Whenever someone starts out on a journey, they can have a goal, right? They can know where they want to end up, but they don't know what's going to happen. That is taking a leap of faith. That is stepping out in faith. Okay? So try your very hardest to do that this month, Cancer, and trust in the benevolency of the universe, that the universe wants the best for you because it does. Near future, we have the Father of Pentacles. This is all about you. Okay, I just want to note here, you see how there's 8 pentacles here and not an inch of space on the card, right? So every inch is filled up. This is you working so hard, so hard, so hard. Yeah, you have 8 coins, but there's no room for growth. You've got the 8 coins and you work, you know, your whole life and that's it. Here you have 1 coin, but do you see all the open space? Do you see the room for change, for growth, the colors and the hope in this card, right? Compared to this one, this 8 of coins. Okay? So in your near future, you may have less, you know, money, but you're damn proud of yourself and you did it yourself and you own it because the Father is the king. And what does a king do? He rules his realm, right? He rules the household. His rules go. So you're in charge of your finances, maybe for the first time ever. And it's really beautiful because right now what's challenging you is this 10 of coins. Oh, I feel like for one of you, you're getting divorced and you have kids and you have a house, you have this feathered nest, right? Because this is your challenge. Remember how I was saying this 2 of Wands is about making a choice, and you get to choose what you believe in, whether you move forward in happiness and faith or in fear, right? And then your challenge is this 9 of coins. 9 of coins is having a feathered nest, having everything you need, your, you know, creature comforts, having a nice house, having a nice car, having all of the, you know, clothes and perfume and whatever little, you know, niceties that you have in life that you enjoy. This is about luxury, by the way. It's not about having your needs met. You always have your needs met throughout this whole thing. This is just like the luxuries, the comfort, right? The extra things. And this is what's challenging you. So you're hesitant to move forward. You're not happy where you are. You're working your butt off. It's not paying off. There's no room for growth. Someone is challenging you. You have to make a choice, and your outside world, you're starting to see signs of it crumbling. But you're still afraid. You're not ready to move forward. But life is starting to move you forward anyways, because you can no longer wall yourself in. You've let your guard down. It's like you got so sick of your environment that you didn't even care. Like you had constructed this fence around yourself, and finally maybe this King of Swords, maybe this Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius came in, this male, and you're like spilling your guts, spilling all of your, you know, concerns, because you're like, I'm so sick of where I am. I don't even care if I tell you my secrets, and it blows up in my face, I don't even care, because I just need to fucking vent so badly. I just need to get this out. I'm so unhappy. And that's where you were in the recent past. And it's leading you to this place where, sorry guys, where you're going to have to make a choice. And in your challenges, are you willing to leave your creature comforts for, your destiny, really, or to move on to a better place? On your subconscious below, we've got the 3 of Pentacles in reverse. So yeah, this is what's on your subconscious mind. You're not aware of it, but it's influencing you heavily. So you're at a new start, but you're afraid to move forward. You're also sick of where you've been, so you can't stay where you are. But subconsciously, finances are the biggest worry. You're worried, will you be able to build your own stable foundation? Will you be able to make it on your own? And guess the fuck what, Cancer? In the future, we have this Father of Coins. I don't think this is someone else. This could be a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn that comes into your life, but I don't think so, because you're not going to go through this working hard, go through all this just to find someone else, who's going to be in charge of your finances. I think this is you taking control. And yes, you might have less, but it's more meaningful and it's more aligned with your values and beliefs because it's yours and you're in control of it. Okay? Ooh, that was a mouthful. Okay, I'm going to pull an animal oracle for you. Some of you, I feel like you're getting divorced, or you're having to split up with your significant other, and you have a house with them, you have a car, maybe the car's in their name. I don't know, but you're having to leave your comforts, and it's really hard for you. And if you have kids, it makes it even harder, because you want to support for them. You want them to live the best life they can. But this experience is going to be better for all of you, and it's God testing your soul, God testing your faith of, are you going to put up with these false beliefs and false values that you've been living that don't actually allow you to fulfill yourself or express yourself? Are you going to put up with that, or are you going to move forward in faith, right? And you're really resistant this month. That's like mainly what's on your mind, because it's fucking scary. But you do have this 9 of Cups, so you do have this like inner happiness that no one can shake, and that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. That's God right there, right? That's that feeling that you need to follow. Okay, and we got the Wolf. Guardian of the family and tribe. Activism, ritual. The Wolf's mission is to uphold the well-being and longevity of the pack. Healthy wolf energy expresses itself through activism, mentorship, humanitarian efforts, or teaching, religious or political studies. Oh, sorry, I'm showing you the back of the card. The wolf gets into trouble when it assumes every member of the tribe must follow suit. This includes children walking in their parents' footsteps. Although it will surely be uncomfortable at first, practicing tolerance helps balance out agitated wolf energy. Contemplate the following. Embrace all, exclude none. When in balance, reliable, democratic, fearless. When out of balance, judgmental, dominating. To bring into balance, practice letting go. This is why I love this, because how perfect is that? And do you see this fire? This is a lone wolf. He's alone, but he's got this fire behind him, right? And these animals, they can withstand so much. They are so perceptive. They are fierce, but they are also so loving and so protective of their pack and their family, right? So that's what you're doing, Cancer. I really think for many of you, this is you're having to leave your feathered nest and go out into the unknown for the good of your family. Here's my little wolf. She's very nervous right now for some reason, but can you get down? Can you get down? Thank you. She's such a goofball. So, bring levity, bring joy into your life. That she just reminded me of that right now. But let go, okay? Don't be afraid to let go. You're holding on with this Fool in reverse. You're holding on to your fear, to what it was, but we already know, you already took the step, whether it was talking to somebody, this King of Swords, or venting, or whatever it is. You're no longer willing to play this false role and work your ass off for no reward, right? You want more than that. And you deserve more than that, Cancer. I'm going to pull your your last oracle card. This is, like I said, the Ask and It Is Given Oracle by Esther and Jerry Hicks. Here's another emotional card. Moods are indicators of my emotional set points. When you continue to focus on any thought, it becomes increasingly easy to continue to focus on it because the law of attraction is making more thoughts like it available to you. And so, emotionally speaking, if you are developing a mood, or you are achieving a habitual vibrational groove, so to speak, or a set point. And so emotionally you are developing a mood, or you are achieving a habitual vibrational groove, so to speak, or set point. So anything that you feel multiple times is, you have emotions, right? But then you have moods, which is like a state. And it's often nonverbal, right? It's like, oh, I'm just in a mood, or why are you that way? I don't know. You can't explain it. You don't know logically why it's there, but it's there and you feel it in your body, right? This is what I was saying about frustration or sadness, or sometimes anger can be masking sadness. So whenever you get into a funk, you might be really struggling right now because you're feeling like you feel like you worked so hard, Cancer, with this Eight of Coins. And not only did you it's not that you didn't get results from it, because you did. You have 8 coins. That's a lot of coins, right? But it's like you could never enjoy it because you were constantly having to go, go, go. You were constantly having to uphold, having to put out fires, having to maintain the machine, right? And have you guys ever seen on Instagram that machine that it leaks out oil and then it has to mop up the oil, right? And it has, in the beginning, it had a little leak, and the inventors of it, it's an art piece. I forget what it's called, but it's supposed to be a piece on, the modern destruction of the planet, modern society, how we're slowly killing ourselves for what, right? For the sake of doing, for the sake of work. But we're never really enjoying ourselves. At the beginning, this machine, I'm sorry, I don't know where it is. I want to say it's in Toronto. I could be totally wrong, but you can just look it up, machine that bleeds out or something like that. And basically, they even dyed the fluid red so it looks like blood. But in the beginning, it would have a little leak. And it would spend most of its time, like, it does these like dances and it interacts with the crowd, and then it would go and mop up its oil and pour it back into itself. It slowly went from having enough time to have leisure, to then it spent all its time soaking up the hydraulic fluid to the end where it could barely do it fast enough. So it would be like almost running out of juice, just reaching its arm out to bring the, oil back and pour it in itself. And finally it stopped. And that's what I feel like you were doing for a while. You've been living like that. And it's time for you to let your inner gifts out. And the choice you have here, this Two of Wands for your motivation, is, are you going to value your creature comforts, right? Your nice car, your nice bedroom, your nice clothes. Are you going to value that over, true expression? You're at a crossroads where you have to make a choice. We've got two cards here, and it will work out for you. And I believe you're doing this for your family, or for, your loved ones, if you don't have a family, or, if you don't have children. For many of you, you're doing this for your kids, and you're like, God, like, should I move my kids to a, they're going to lose their school district. All these sorts of things are running through your head, right? But the truth is, what's the point if you can't let that inner spark remain lit, right? It's like you're already dead if that's all your life is. So you've already decided that you have to move on, and universe supports you. It's just up to you. And I don't want to make it sound like gloomy, but it is that serious. You cannot stay where you are. You can't have your cake and eat it too, right? You can't. You can try to change how you are, but I guarantee your external environment is going to continue to change, because there were a lot of things you had to do in order to maintain it just so, right? Exactly how it was. And so it's going to, if you change, if you continue to grow on the inside, that's great. But at some point you're going to have to move on from where you are now, because it's not going to support you. And at a certain point you're going to be at another crossroads where you your external environment, much like where you are now, is not going to allow for any more growth. And so at that point you have a choice to make, and you're already there. So don't resist it. Just take that leap of faith, and it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. And if you start to feel in a mood, right, or start to feel low or start to feel depressed, remember that you can change your emotional state. You're in charge of it. So go do something that makes you feel good. Go do something that makes you laugh. Go do something to shake up your energy, okay? And keep doing that. Keep practicing it. No matter how false or fake it feels in the beginning, keep doing it, because it's going to attract more of that to you, okay? That was the point of this card. So I love you guys, and I will see you in April.